Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our 3-game match review. Yes, back for another round, another 3 games. Really exciting. Really big round of footy, of course, ahead of us is round 10 and 3 very big games here as well. And I'll tell you, we learned a lot from these 3 games, as we always do in these 3-game match reviews. The start of Sir Doug Nicholls round as well, so teams putting on their fantastic Indigenous Guernsey as well. So fantastic. We're not going to waste any time in this video. We're going to be going over Carlton vs Sydney, Geelong vs Port Adelaide, and Western Bulldogs versus Gold Coast. So why not start Carlton vs Sydney? So I was actually pretty happy with how this game turned out, as I got the margin bang smack on. I said Carlton by 15, and they prevailed by 15 points in the end. 15-12, 102 to 13-9, 87. So Carlton were the better team, and they only won by 15 points in, well, what was a pretty doozy second quarter as well. They went from 80 to 102, only adding on 22 in the second half. So bit of worry for Carlton, but it didn't cost them, although it did just about. So Carlton, they were down by 1 point due to inaccuracy at the first quarter, and the Swans were accurate, 7-0 at half-time. Carlton just proved to be a better team. They went 1 goal late in the first, which makes it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals in a row, and then they got an extra 2 later in the term. Well, an extra 3 later in the term. So they banged on 9 goals in the second quarter, which really sent themselves out to a 38-point lead, I believe. And they pretty much already had the game in their grasp. Sydney really came back. The third quarter was theirs, and the final quarter, they came under 10 points, I believe, to nearly steal it. And yes, they may have only gotten, the last quarter was not really won by any team, but wow, what a game that one was. Curnow got the 6 goals, of course. Sam Walsh, 34 disposals, 123 fantasy for Parker, 8 tackles for Callum Mills. Carlton are the real deal this year. Carlton are the real deal. If we didn't already know this, which I mean, I have thought this of a little while. I have thought ever since Carlton have really come out, since about round 6, I reckon, I've really thought, all right, Carlton are actually going somewhere this year. And, yeah, in this game, they've really solidified it, and finals is definitely on the radar for them. In fact, top 4, they're a crack at top 4 as well, I would say. You guys can let me know in the comment section, Carlton for top 4 or top 8. What are your calls on that? But 123 fantasy for Parker, 113 for Walsh, 112 for Mills, 106 for Hewitt, 98 for Curnow, 91 for Sard. Their midfield does do it as well. Carlton, they've got such a brilliant midfield. 6 goals for Curnow. McDonald was also in some fine shape as well, kicking 3 goals. He was impressive. He had a pretty decent night out for himself. Tom Papley with 3 goals, buzzing with life. 2 goals for Fisher. Durden, their small forwards do it. 2 goals for Hayward and Franklin. Motlop around the ball looked superb. He brought the pressure and everything like that. He was amazing. Unlucky not to have 2 or 3 goals to his name. He only gets the 1 goal 3. Always 1 goal 2 as well. Unlucky not to have 2 goals. Kennedy, DeConing, Cripps, McInerney, Parker, Goulden also get the 1 goal as well. Now DeConing, he took 2 marks in a row, 2 hangers in a row. So yeah, there's a little bit of niceness for Carlton as well. Disposals, 34 for Walsh, 32 for Hewitt, 26 for Parker, 24 for Heaney, 23 for Newman, Mills and Goulden, and then 21 for Sard as well. He's amazing, as well as Doherty, Florence and Blakey, all tallying up that number. Marks, 10 for McDonald, 9 for Parker, 8 for Mills and McCartan. Tackles, 8 for Mills, 7 for Hewitt, Cripps, Parker. We'll go into some quick team stats. Sydney actually entered inside 50 more times than Carlton. And Sydney and Carlton were both reasonably accurate as well, but Carlton were a little bit inaccurate earlier. Disposal efficiency, nothing great. Efficiency inside 50 though. They were the better team inside 450 by a fair way with Carlton. Nothing else that's really appealing at the moment. Sydney actually took more marks inside 50, but again, Carlton do bring the ball to ground, and their small forwards are exciting and bring the energy as well. Carlton in front for majority of the game, biggest lead was 38 points, and nothing else is really appealing. So that is Carlton's big win for them. And I reckon they are definitely the real deal after showing off a good performance like that. That is big. Now, for Sydney, where does this leave them? I wouldn't say that you'd be too shattered after a loss by 15 points to Carlton at Marvel. But again, next week, again, big game versus Richmond back at the SCG. Must win for the Swans. And Carlton, they have got, I don't even know who they've got next week. But yeah, I'll be able to check that one out a little bit later to who they have, so I'll check that now. So Carlton have Collingwood next week, but Carlton walk away 15-point winners at Marvel Stadium on a Friday night. Now down to the Cattery, Geelong 11-16-82. Triumph over Port Adelaide, who only managed a 7-5-47, a very low score compared to Geelong's 11-16. They could have won this game by more, and the third quarter was where the story was told. It was a reasonably even first two quarters. The Cats were very inaccurate, though, so probably deserved to win this game by more than what they ended up doing. But the Power, they just didn't do anything in that third quarter, only getting one goal, and the Cats managed to get plenty in a 5-goal quarter, and that saw at the end they were down by 26, and the margin ends up growing to 35. Now, that's big for the Power. They just had 4 in a row, and they're still sitting outside the 8. And a loss like that by that much is pretty devastating, actually. Now, next week, they've got Essendon, so they shouldn't really be troubled by Essendon, but this is the thing. The Cats, yes, GMHBA, they are so good. It is the hardest road trip in footy. So, of course, you've got to give credit to that. Geelong already had the advantage coming in. I didn't think they were going to win it by 35. I thought they were going to win it, but not by too much. But the Cats, they're really back to their best after last week wasn't great against the Saints, which, yes, it was at Marvel as well. But, yeah, the Cats do play GMHBA very well for any team going down there. It's really hard to play against them. So, yeah, 38 Spurs for Cam Guthrie, 3 goals for Cameron, 121 fantasy for Houston, 8 tackles for Brandon Parfitt. Go and have a look at some fantasy. 121 AFL fantasy for Houston, 114 for Guthrie, 105 for Cameron, 103 for Wines, and then 98 for Blitzarves, 94 for Stewart, and Butters, 89 for Amon, followed by 88 for Parfitt, and 87 for Tommy Atkins. 3 goals for Stengel and Cameron, they were amazing up forward for the Cats. 2 goals for Hawkins, Gray, Marshall, and then the 1 goal for Close, Finlayson, Colajasny, Selwood, and that was it. But yeah, Port Adelaide only manufacturing the 7 goals. It's not great. 30 disposals for Houston, 29 for Wise, 27 for Stewart. Now we'll have a look at marks. 11 for Houston, 8 for Stewart, Gray and Amon. Tackles, 8 for Parfitt, 6 for Marshall. And hit-outs, we got to do that last time in the Carlton vs Sydney game. But 35 for Hayes, 31 for Blitzarves, 3 for Power Pepper, 2 for Hawkins, 2 for De Koning, 2 for Finlayson, 1 for Stewart. So that is how it went with the hit-outs. Disposals, the Cats entered inside 50 way more times than the Power. The Power's efficiency inside 50 was not great. The Cats, they were better. And the Power only manufacturing 7 goals, 5. That's 12 scores to Geelong's 11-16, that's 27. 12 to 27, that's a big differential there as well. And then, not really anything else that's that appealing. Actually, the Power took more marks inside 50. That's an interesting stat. Cats led for majority of the game and were quite comfortable. Their winning margin being the biggest. Robbie Gray's double poster though, that was pretty funny, that one. I think it was Robbie Gray. Yeah, I think it was Robbie Gray's double poster. But yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, the Cats walk away with a nice 35-point win over the Power. Massive win for them. So now the Western Bulldogs get over the Gold Coast Suns by 19 points. Western Bulldogs 15-16, 106 compared to Gold Coast 13-9, 87. Gold Coast actually were really decent in this game, and they were there right till the very end and never gave up in this game. Gold Coast have actually been looking very good, and I feel like they've been good this year. The Suns, they've been good, and they've been good, and that's pretty much all I've got to say. But they've been inconsistent sometimes, but they've been on a decent run, and it's hard to play at Mars Stadium and beat the Dogs down there at Mars. It is really hard to do that. The Dogs, they had a jump skip on the Suns in the first quarter. Second quarter was actually even, where the Suns really brought life back into the game. It was the third quarter that spelled trouble though. 1, 2, 3, 4 goals for the Dogs, 4 unanswered goals in a row, which really set the Suns on a bit of a down low, even though yes, they did still manage to get 3 late in the term, but just didn't prove to be enough. They were still down by about 15 or so, and then the Dogs, they just get a few goals late. That one there, extending the margin to 20 halfway through, really was a denting blow. The Suns tried to come back. They almost produced a miracle, but the Dogs were just way too good, too strong. In a massive win for them. 34 disposals for Bailey Smith, 5 goals for Joel Jeffrey, 118 fantasy for Smith, and 8 tackles for Matt Rao. But look, the Suns, they didn't give up in this game, and that is the main thing. It is hard to win down there. They didn't give up, and they played well. So I would say I wouldn't be too disappointed with that loss. They really competed and fought hard down there. 118 fantasy for Smith, 116 for Bontempelli, 104 for Whitson Swallow, 100 for Treloar and Dunkley, 96 for McRae, 93 for Noah Anderson. Goals and behinds, 5 goals straight for Jeffrey. 3 goals for the following: Bontempelli, Norton and Ainsworth. 2 goals for Bailey Williams, McNeil, McComb. And then 1 goal for Treloar, Troll, Dunkley, Rankin, Smith, Rosas, Ellis, Ferrara, and Casbolt was inaccurate with 0-3. So Troll and Casbolt were kept quiet, which was a massive thing for the Dogs. Bailey Smith and Jack McRae, 34 disposals, 26 for Treloar, 25 for Swallow, 24 for Bontempelli, and then 23 for Dale, 22 for Liberatore, Dunkley and Lemons, and then 21 for Noah Anderson. Marks, 11 for Richards, 10 for Ballard, 8 for Bontempelli and Lemons. Tackles, 8 for Rao, 7 for McNeil, 6 for Sweets, Treloar, Dunkley, and Anderson. Hit-outs now, 55 for Wiz. Wow, that's a lot of hit-outs. 27 for Sweet, 6 for Cordy, 2 for Troll, 1 for Carmus, I believe, and 1 for Levi Casbolt. So, it's a pretty even inside 50 battle, 58-56. Dogs happy to go by hand more though. Then the Suns, clearances were in favour of the Western Bulldogs, although hit-outs were Gold Coast, and nothing else is looking that great here. Dogs led for the whole game, but the Suns were always close, and they always fought in this game, did Gold Coast. Unlucky to lose by 19, but again, they really fought, they put in the effort, and they played pretty well, just didn't manage to get the win. So now, Melbourne currently lead by 19 over North Melbourne. North Melbourne 6-0-36. Melbourne 8-7-55. North Melbourne have actually led in this game as well. You can see just there. They've fought hard, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were to try and come back their way back into this. This is only quarter 2 as well, so it's a high-scoring game. Can North Melbourne defeat all odds and win? Well, we're going to have to wait and find out, and they still wouldn't have won by the time this video is hopefully going out. I don't think they would have won. We don't think either team would have won by the time this video goes out. Hopefully not. Fingers crossed, but that is currently the score, 36-55. And yeah, the Roos, they've been in this game. So now North Melbourne, of course, is getting another behind. So that is what we've covered so far. Those are the games there that we've gone over. And now what's to come? Adelaide versus St Kilda. Dream time at the G. Richmond versus Essendon. Massive game. GWS versus West Coast. What do West Coast bring up to the table in this? And what did GWS do under assistant Mark McVeigh? Hawthorn versus Brisbane. Freo Collingwood will round out the rounds. First round will be done of Sir Doug Nicholls round. And then on to the second, which will have some big games. So we'll go over that in a minute. But this is the current table. Of course, not with North Melbourne versus Melbourne included. So that's what it's looking like right now after this match reviews. We'll chuck on the live ladder, however, as well. And of course, Melbourne will be getting a handy jump over competitors Brisbane, Carlton and Fremantle. And North Melbourne, I feel like their percentage will go up. They went up to 54.4 if they were to lose by an 18-point margin. So round 11, let's just see what we had, what we've got in round 11. Big game for the Swans versus the Tigers, of course. The Cats go down GMHBA again. Dogs have got the Eagles at Optus, and Suns have got the Hawks at TIO. And Carlton have got the Pies. So that's going to round out today's match review. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so then you guys will never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.